I'm Logan Crawford, and right now on Spotlight, we're exploring an inspiring autobiography, My Life with God. And it's written by a terrific author. His name is Ronald Nelson. At 84 years old, the author shares the profound God moments that have shaped his life, from his Navy career, including service in Vietnam, to his role as an ordained deacon and leader in the American Legion. Join us as we delve into this heartfelt memoir filled with faith, family, and a lifetime of divine guidance. We're delighted to have this very talented author join us here today on Spotlight. We thank the team at Atticus Publishing for helping us put him in the spotlight today, and we ask viewers like you to support authors like him by subscribing to our channel and by purchasing his wonderful book. The links are below this interview. Ron, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
I'm glad to be here. Yeah,
I
thank
love
you
the
for
title.
inviting me.
You're very welcome. It's great to have you on the show. I love the title, My Life with God. Is that how you feel your life has been led, as a journey you've taken with God?
Well, after writing this book, I that was the name that I came up with because it seems so logical and so pertinent to what I have experienced in my life. So, and it was primarily reacting and answering and doing what God has asked me to do. So
Yeah.
that my life with God is a natural, I thought.
Absolutely. And certainly when you're going to places like Vietnam, you want God on your side. Tell us what it was like being in Vietnam and the impact your service had on your life.
Yeah. I didn't have to ask God to be on my side. He's been with me all the time.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
Vietnam, what was that era like for you?
Well, I was on the battleship New Jersey, BB-62, and we were over there firing. We were independently in the ocean over there, going wherever they were needed. And I don't know if you also know that I'm a dentist. So
Mm.
I was a dentist on board that ship. But during the times of war, when we were firing and getting fired back at, I was the medical officer in the after battle dressing station,
Mm.
which had we had a operating table, a big light, we had corpsmen, we had stretchers, we had ship fitters and people who could assess and fix damage if we had it. So there was about 20 some people in this little locked up room with me, and so it was interesting to
Yeah.
say the least. A lot of boom booming going on outside, and every time our guns went off, the ship shook.
Yeah,
Significant. Yeah, yeah.
I'm
16
sure.
guns are big ones.
Yeah. Amazing. How many years did you spend in the Navy?
26.
Wow, it's a long time. It's a long time.
It was like everything else in life. It went fast,
Yeah.
and every minute of it. Um, my wife and I wanted to have adventure, and we sure got it.
Yeah. Exactly. And it led you to Hawaii, where you live today.
That's right.
Yeah.
Yes. Because I was in two ships that home ported in Hawaii and back and forth to Long Beach and back and forth to Vietnam and so forth. So I told my wife one day, I took her up to Diamond Head and I said, don't forget this, we're coming back.
Yeah, it's a beautiful spot for sure. Tell us a little bit about your wife and the role she played in your spiritual journey.
I met her in high school when I was just a freshman in college, and it was an interesting way to meet. I was at a basketball game and watching my old team, and a friend of mine came up to me and he said, "You know, I got a car. I mean, I got a date, but I don't have a car. And you have a car. Why don't you get a date?" And I said, "Oh, that sounds like a good idea." So I looked up in the crowd, and there was my wife playing her clarinet in the school band. So I went up and asked her if she would go home with me. And she said, "Well, I just live across the street." And so, with a giggle. So I said, "No, I'm talking about getting in the car and we'll cruise around town and we'll go to this local place that high school kids hung out called the ice cream store. So, get French fries and a cherry Coke, that kind of stuff." So she said, okay. And that was our first date, and they developed after that.
Wonderful. What town was that? Where were you living at the time?
I was living in Minnesota. I'm born and raised in Minnesota. So a little town called Faribault, Minnesota, which is named after a French trapper um, who established a trading post with the Indians there. So it's kind of in the beginning of my book, a little description of where I was. So, but Minnesota's cold. That's why I'm in Hawaii.
Exactly. After a lot of years in Minnesota, you crave Hawaii, I'm sure. But every now and then you'd probably like to take a trip back to that ice cream shop. It sounds like a fun place.
I think it's gone now. I
I'm
think it's
sure
a
it's long gone.
shoe
Yeah.
store. I
Yeah.
like a lot of things. And by the way, I'm not 84, I'm 86.
86. Okay. Okay.
In 2 months, I'll be 86 anyway.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, you don't look a day over 74, which is a good thing. You look a good decade younger than
Usually a
your
young kid.
actual age. Let me ask you this. Part of your journey was becoming a deacon as well. Tell us about that aspect of your life.
When I was on the Navy, I felt the call to do something more in the church other than being in the pew. And so I was observing deacons, and they were, assisting at mass and sometimes preaching and so forth. So I was in the Navy, and the first time I applied for the diaconate program, the formation, I only had a year left, and the program was a 2-year program, so I couldn't do that. So my next duty station, uh, I applied again, and then it changed from 2 years to 3 years,
Hmm.
and I was only going to be there 2 more years. So I said, strike three, I guess I'm out, or at least two strikes.
Yeah.
So then we moved back to Minnesota to take care of my parents. My father had Alzheimer's and my mother was alone. I'm the only child. So we went back there, and after mass, I went and talked to the deacon, and I told him my sad story about being rejected twice, not because I was rejected, but because I didn't have time. And he said, well, let me give a call to the director of the diaconate formation program and see what he says. Well, lo and behold, they had tried to get 12 deacon candidates, and they only had 11.
Mm.
And so I got a call back the next day from this uh, deacon, the head of the program, Deacon Flynn, and he said, I'd like to interview you. Can you come up with your wife to Minneapolis, which is about 50 miles north? Yes, I will. So I brought my resume with me, all the things that I've done in the church and my life and so forth. And he looked at me and he said, you're just perfect for us. He said, you missed the psychological testing that we do for all these candidates, but I want you to join our group. We need number 12 and you're it. And I said, wow, thank you. So, I was being led all this way all the time to God. And when when he said, you've missed your psychological testing, I said, oh, well, you'll be sorry. Just joking, of course.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. That was a great response for sure. The American Legion is also part of your story. Tell us
It is.
about your work there.
Well, when I retired from being a deacon, and I was wondering, what am I going to do? And so I thought immediately the VFW, the American Legion. So I called up the American Legion, and they said, yeah, we'd love to have you. So we only meet every other month, which is great because meetings are sometimes boring. And I went in, and I was a chaplain for 2 years. And then after that, I was elected 10 years ago the commander of the Post 1 American Legion in Honolulu. So I've been in that position now 10 years, and we've done a lot of great things. I run the meeting for 1 hour, and that's it. I tell the guys we're going to do business, but we're going to do a lot of activities, and so we do. So we've done some significant activities, like in rest homes and cemeteries and marches and parades and different things. So it's been a
Amazing.
joy for me. I really love I think because I'm a veteran, I love the veterans because I know what they went through.
Yeah. You know their stories. Well, your life is not only a life with God, it's a life of service. So we thank you for that, sir. The name of the book we've been talking about today is My Life with God by Ronald Nelson. In the book, Ronald shares the profound God moments that have shaped his life, from his Navy career, including service in Vietnam, to his role as an ordained deacon and leader in the American Legion. It is an amazing book. You will love this heart-filled memoir. It is complete with wonderful stories of faith, family, and a lifetime of divine guidance. Ron, thanks so much for joining us here today on Spotlight.
Oh, it's my pleasure. I'm honored to do this with you. Thank you very much, Logan.
The honor is all mine. I appreciate your time. To the folks at home, I'm Logan Crawford, thanking you for your time this time. Until next time on Spotlight.
God bless you
All
all.
right.